Bray Wyatt makes his WWE in-ring return at a live event inside Madison Square Garden. We've got an update on the plans for WrestleMania 39, main event of Night 1, plus who will Roman Reigns' opponent be on Night 2. A strange match has been officially advertised for the Royal Rumble Premium Live event. Got the latest details on that, possibly involving Bray Wyatt. Cody Rhodes appears on last night's edition of Monday Night Raw, possibly hyping up his return in 2023. And WWE has major troubles at a recent live event. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of WWE. And finally, for the first time since returning to the company, back at Extreme Rules, Bray Wyatt has competed. He has wrestled a match inside of the squared circle, and it was in the best place for it, Madison Square Garden, last night on WWE's live event tour, as they do this all the time throughout the holiday season. But in a surprising turn of events, Bray Wyatt made his long-awaited comeback to the squared circle at a WWE live event inside Madison Square Garden last night in New York City. According to PW Insider, Bray Wyatt answered an open challenge from Jinder Mahal, who expressed disappointment over not being included in the ladder match for Gunther's Intercontinental Championship scheduled for later on in the evening. Wyatt reportedly came out to a, quote, huge pop as fans in New York City serenaded the former Universal Champion with "This is awesome" chants. In a quick bout, the two competitors battled for a bit on the outside until Wyatt finished off Mahal inside the ring with the Sister Abigail finisher. This was Wyatt's first taste of in-ring action since his loss to Randy Orton at WrestleMania 37 all the way back in 2021. Since returning to WWE at October's Extreme Rules event, Wyatt has been in a battle with probably his biggest opponent's been himself, his demons inside of his head, leading to his run-ins with the likes of Uncle Howdy and most recently SmackDown superstar LA Knight. This past Friday on SmackDown, Bray Wyatt abruptly attacked a cameraman while addressing Uncle Howdy's first in-person appearance on December 16, which seemingly confirmed that the mysterious figure was not Wyatt's alter ego in the same vein as The Fiend. We're also going to talk about this a bit later on, but a match has been pitched and announced for the Royal Rumble in January, with a lot of people suggesting that it's going to involve Bray Wyatt. Now, before I give you my thoughts on this, here's a look. We've got some footage from the match in question. We've got some footage of Bray Wyatt's appearance inside Madison Square Garden. Let's take a closer look at Bray Wyatt's first match since WrestleMania 37. And there you go, Bray Wyatt is back. So it was certainly a surprise. It was interesting to see that announcement. It kind of circulated on social media yesterday that Bray Wyatt had wrestled a match inside Madison Square Garden. And I suppose that if he was ever going to return at a WWE live event, it would be inside MSG, the December 26th live event inside Madison Square Garden. It's always a massive event for WWE. They do it every year. It's part of their holiday live event tour. It's a big holiday, Christmas time tradition for WWE. So it's always a massive show. And they really stacked the card actually on the show last night. I mentioned they had this multi-person ladder match for Gunther's Intercontinental Championship, which clips that I've seen from that were absolutely fantastic. But it still was a surprise to see Bray Wyatt wrestle, just because we haven't seen him do that since he returned. And the feeling wasn't it, that he would probably make his in-ring return at the Royal Rumble, most likely against LA Knight in this big gimmick match. As far as his look, he looks fantastic. I know there have been some speculation about his cardio, his in-ring, health, and if there was even some speculation that in all of the appearances, if you go back and check, you didn't really notice it the first few times because the lights are dimmed so low during a Bray Wyatt promo segment, but he's always wearing a big knee brace. And I think some people suggested or maybe speculated, is there a situation whereby actually Bray Wyatt, returned to WWE at Extreme Rules but might not have been actually able to wrestle for a period of time? He might have been dealing with this injury, or was there some other factor that we didn't know about? Well, It would appear that's not the case. I mean, Wyatt's always been a big guy. He's always been Husky Harris. But that's as good, I think, as I've seen Bray Wyatt look in terms of, physically. I think he looks great. So the match was very, very short, as a Bray Wyatt match should be, by the way. Most Bray Wyatt matches, unless it's a big opponent, a real capable opponent, should not be a 10, 15 minute back and forth, because it doesn't fit the character. That's the point. But I don't think this is going to be the version of Bray Wyatt that we see wrestle on WWE television that much. I don't think this is going to be the ring attire that we see Bray Wyatt wrestle in that much. My general feeling is, and this might be explained later on, there might be reports that come out from the likes of Sean Rossap, Dave Meltzer, Mike Johnson, Andrew Zarian, etc. But my feeling is this was just a situation of, it's a holiday show. It's Madison Square Garden. Let's have Bray come out as a surprise. It'll pop the crowd. It'll get people talking on social media, and it won't give too much away, sort of situation, right? There's a separate continuity with live events. There's a separate continuity with house shows, and they only kind of weave that into usual mainstream continuity of WWE television storylines whenever they want to. So this was just something, I think, to pop the crowd. But again, Wyatt looks great. Makes his return, his in-ring return inside MSG. First time he's wrestled since April of 2021 as well. So like 18 months we're talking about, and he looks great. And it would appear that his next opponent is going to be LA Knight at the Royal Rumble, and we'll talk about possibly what that match type will be later on in this video. One thing that is for sure is that the holiday season is upon us, and that means WrestleMania season, the Royal Rumble season, is just around the corner. And as we get closer and closer and closer to the showcase of the Immortals, we learn more about possibly what WrestleMania is going to look like next year, what possibly Night 1 and Night 2 of WrestleMania is going to look like, what the main events are going to look like next year, and possibly who Roman Reigns will be defending his undisputed Universal Championship against, or possibly just the Universal Championship and not the WWE Championship. Well, it seems the spoilers are already floating around regarding what WWE currently has planned for the main event of Night 1 of WrestleMania 39. According to a report from WrestlingNews.co, they were given some very intriguing scoops as to what Triple H has planned for the first WrestleMania in charge of creative for himself. Per the report, WrestleMania 39 Night 1 is currently planned to be main evented by Seth freaking Rollins versus either Cody Rhodes or Drew McIntyre, interestingly, for the WWE Championship. Let's repeat that. Seth Rollins versus either Cody Rhodes or Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Now, there was not any additional details regarding at what point the WWE Championship may be broken off from the WWE Universal Championship to set up such a match provided, or how they would do that. Triple H, of course, continues to have the challenging task of long-term booking amid real-world timelines, as Cody Rhodes officially is still out of action with an injury, although he did appear on Raw last night, and it would appear he'll be back with plenty of time when it comes to WrestleMania 39. As far as the plans for Night 2's main event, well, things get a little bit more murky, given a very big question mark regarding one of the possible participants in that main event of Night 2. So, Night 2, there are two possible paths, with still the lingering question of whether Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will be available to appear on Night 2 of WrestleMania 39. According to WrestlingNews.co, their sources noted that the Night 2 main event is tentatively scheduled to feature Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against one of two epic possibilities. Now, ideally, according to these sources, according to this report, WWE would want The Rock to be main eventing WrestleMania 39. However, as it remains to be determined if he is unable to appear, the report states that Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, the former AEW EVP, will fill that spot. So, what we're looking at currently, if The Rock is available, you're most likely looking at Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship on Night 1 of WrestleMania 39. That would lead to Night 2, Roman Reigns versus The Rock for the Universal Championship. Now, if The Rock cannot appear, then, according to this report, what we're likely to see is Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre on Night 1 of WrestleMania 39 for the WWE Championship. That would lead to Night 2 of WrestleMania being Roman Reigns versus the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes for the Universal Championship. Now, how they would get to that First of all, it's part of the fun, isn't it? It's part of the fun of being a wrestling fan, is trying to figure out how they will get there, watching how it all unfolds and play out. So that's part of the fun, of course. How do I think they would get there? It's a really good question. I don't know. The Royal Rumble feels key, maybe. And maybe it could be a situation whereby Cody Rhodes comes back. You would feel that the most likely situation is Cody Rhodes comes back, he wins the Rumble, okay? That allows him to either compete for the WWE Championship on night 1 or the Universal Championship on night 2. Now, if The Rock is back, he's going to be off doing his own thing against Roman Reigns. That's fine. So that can lead Cody Rhodes to point to the promo he did after he returned at WrestleMania 38 and say, I came back to this company to win the championship my father never did, and that is the WWE Championship. So I'm going to challenge for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 39, and by that point, somehow, I guess Seth Rollins is the WWE Champion, and then it's the resumption of the feud that put Cody Rhodes on the shelf, the Hell in a Cell match, the sledgehammer to the chest, all that kind of stuff. That makes sense. However, the big problem here is that as time goes on, I honestly feel less and less and less and less likely that The Rock's going to appear. It just feels like Groundhog Day. Call me Bill Murray, but it feels like Groundhog Day again, because we always do this. We always get to this point whereby they want The Rock at WrestleMania. They want The Rock at WrestleMania. And it gets to late December, early January, and they go, nah, he's busy. He can't do it. And it kind of feels like that might be the direction that they go in. So Cody Rhodes, therefore, has to face Roman Reigns. And the interesting thing is that if Roman Reigns is facing The Rock at WrestleMania Night 2 for the Universal Championship, Roman Reigns wins that match. The Rock is not winning the Universal Championship. I know that the title was there on Young Rock, and possibly The Rock could be the guy, but that would be so bad booking for WWE to not have this guy be pinned since 2019. The last time he lost, he was pinned in a singles match, was 2019, Baron Corbin. All right? Since then, he has won the Universal Championship, WWE Championship. He's just been unbeaten for 3 years. Close to 4 by that point, or 3 and a bit. You would have The Rock come back and be the guy to beat him? No, the guy that has to beat him has to be a full-time guy. Give him the rub. So, if The Rock is wrestling on night 2, Roman Reigns wins. But if Cody Rhodes is wrestling Roman Reigns on night 2, you would think Cody Rhodes then wins that match. So, it's all very much up in the air, and I think this does add some credibility to what Dave Meltzer has been saying recently, when he says there's lots of different possibilities right now. There's lots of different options that they're considering, but this report kind of just puts them out there. They're considering Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. They're considering The Rock versus Roman Reigns. They're considering Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. They're considering Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. They're considering a multitude of things, and a lot can change between now and then. Injuries, people become available, people depart the company. Anything is possible. So the idea that they have this sort of working plan, I don't think they do. I think they have multiple choices right now. And as far as what those multiple choices will be, time will only tell. But you can let me know in the comment section below, which choice would you go with? Would you go with Reigns versus Rock on night 2 and Rollins versus Rhodes on night 1? And how would you get the WWE Championship off Roman Reigns? Does he just surrender it? Does Adam Pearce come in and say, the USA Network wants it back? I don't know. How do they do it? You let me know. Comment section below. Do they find a way of doing it? And let me know how they find that way. Now, we spoke about Bray Wyatt earlier on, and it looks like he's going to be making his official on televised, shall we say, in-ring return at the Royal Rumble. And it could be in a strange match, because WWE has announced the first ever pitch black match for the upcoming Royal Rumble Premium Live event. Now, as per a video released on WWE social media, quote, anything can happen in the unique gimmick match where all the lights will presumably be turned off as the superstars wrestle in the ring. Now, the promo video included shots of WWE Hall of Famer Edge and pictures of the crowd reacting to Bray Wyatt's return at Extreme Rules. As such, one can presume the match will feature either Edge or Wyatt, both of whom are rumored to wrestle at the Royal Rumble. In fact, the very same WrestlingNews.co reported last month that WWE's creative team had made a pitch for the unique pitch black match specifically for Wyatt. Now, it is worth noting here that the match is being sponsored by Mountain Dew as part of the brand's pitch black soda flavor relaunch. Now, this isn't the first time WWE has done a sponsor-driven gimmick match. The infamous, I remember watching this live, the Lumberjack Zombies match at WrestleMania Backlash, that premium live event in May 2021. But whilst the match was criticised heavily by mainstream outlets and wrestlers alike, it was actually revealed later that WWE was paid over $1 million to promote the Army of the Dead film via the gimmick match. So they can laugh and we can laugh all they want. They got paid very, very handsomely to do it, but it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. It remains to be seen if the pitch black match will include comedic elements, as was the case with The Miz and John Morrison literally being eaten by zombies last year. Fans on social media believe that Wyatt or Edge's potential involvement in the Royal Rumble match could lead to a more serious contest, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's interesting because it had been rumoured, hadn't it, when it came to Edge, that he was going to be facing Finn Balor, the Demon King, Finn Balor or the Demon, whatever you want to call him. And that was going to be inside Hell in a Cell, and that might still be the possibility. I have my reservations about a match in which two superstars are wrestling in the dark. Logically, how are we going to see it? That would be my first question. How are we going to see it? And you could say night vision. Okay, we could see it in terms of night vision. That's fine. Okay, in terms of the camera like that. We're watching it at home, watching it in night vision. I guess that could be a decent visual. How's the crowd going to watch it? Are we saying that the crowd, or the visual is, the entire crowd is holding up their camera phones or their phones and got the torch on, so it kind of illuminates them that way, so they're relying on the light from the crowd? I suppose that's a decent look, and two people fighting in the glow of the fireflies. In theory it could work, I suppose, but we'll see. I don't know. Let me know, how would that work? Do we see it in night vision, or is it just a case of the crowd is the lights? I think maybe that's the way to work. But then it's not pitch black because there are lights. I don't know. Now, Raw last night wasn't a normal edition of Monday Night Raw. It was a best of show. Obviously, the first live episode of main roster television is going to be taking place Friday, SmackDown, with the return of John Cena. But Cody Rhodes did appear on last night's WWE Raw Best of 2022 clip show to discuss, amongst other things, his goals upon his return to the company. Just when you thought there wasn't a great reason to check out WWE Raw Best of 2022, airing in lieu of a live edition, they announced an appearance by the American Nightmare. With WWE making an announcement that fans would hear from Cody Rhodes on last night's Raw, Twitter went wild with anticipation as to whether or not there may be a reveal on the show. On the show, Cody Rhodes appeared via video where he discussed his WrestleMania 38 shocking return, noting that he had not specifically asked for it but greatly needed the positive fan reception he received. Rhodes noted it was a night he would never forget. When the talk turned to his return, Cody Rhodes stated that his goal was to pick back up where he left off after a return to WWE. So, unfortunately, there was no real specific news regarding a return, but of course, if we get any more details on that, we'll have to wait and see. The most likely and working theory right now is that Cody Rhodes will return at the Royal Rumble in the men's Royal Rumble match, and frankly, chances are he's one of, if not the favourite, to win the whole thing, which would lead to that story that we were talking about earlier, a WrestleMania showdown against either Seth freaking Rollins or Roman Reigns for either the WWE Championship or the Universal Championship. Finally, we know there was a live event in MSG last night in New York City, but there's also another one in Columbus, Ohio, and it was a disaster, basically. WWE ran live events on December 26 instead of television, but one of them ended up being a logistical mess, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select. Several WWE talent missed the Columbus live events, with even more showing up late. Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, and Alexa Bliss all missed the events, and several more had to rush to even make the show. Rollins was set to main event against Austin Theory, but he was replaced by Damian Priest and Johnny Gargano. WWE, of course, had passed on running a live televised Raw to give production employees extra time off. Had WWE ran a televised event, it would have been the hampered Columbus show. So I guess they kind of feel like they got away with one when it came to that, because the getting there and all that kind of stuff, frankly, I guess, was a disaster. So there you go, guys. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's WWE news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.